going on, guys? Thomas XSL here, and today I'm gonna review two full perm kits, and they're both cars, by the way. Well, one's a car and one's a truck, a big rig. And you may have heard me talk about full perm kits before in the past, or resale kits. And with vehicles, they generally they're gonna come unscripted for driving, because that's up to you, the buyer. The reseller that's going to rebuild these things up to make them drivable with whatever scripts you have. So I'm going to get right into it and bring up my inventory. I bought these off the marketplace, so they came in my received items folder. This one here, one of them is a GS Mesh Stig Ruy box. It's a Sting Ray, 60s Corvette Sting Ray. And the second one is a truck V12 full perm. It's a big rig. So I'm going to go ahead and spin my camera around and unbox these. And here is the box for the, now here it says Star Ruy. Stig Ray or Star Ruy. Full perm, 74 prims. It's mesh, and it looks like it's based on the 63 split window vet. Right click and hit open. And permissions, and it says creator box, resell only in your own builds. No resell full perm, resell only with no transfer permissions. So I'm going to click keep on that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And unbox the truck. Okay, and the truck is not boxed, it just pops out as the truck. And let me go ahead and I'm going to pull the truck out to my inventory. And then I'm just going to drop both of them into my building stuff folders. Put that one. There we go. Recent items. I'm gonna bring out the Sting Ray, or the Stig Ray, or the Sting Ruy, right beside it here, and we'll compare these. Click off my inventory. It's going to take a while for the Sting Ray to pop up because it's mesh, and that always takes a little bit for it to res. It should be popping in pretty soon. Mesh is always weird like this. That's how you know that this truck is hard prim, because it popped right into place. There it is. Okay. There we go. Where's my wheels? Where's my doors? Where's the interior? I see a piece of a seat fragment. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it goes. See, mesh takes a little while for it to pop in. So we got this truck here. More than likely it is hard prim. Let's see. I'm going to click edit and look at the... Now this said it had smokestacks that were scripted. So the smokestacks are already got the scripts in them, but the rest of the truck, as you can see from the contents, it has a truck resizer. User manual prim resizer scripts. Why would a truck need a resizer? You could just grab it and stretch it out if you needed it resized. Let me see if I click this. I'm clicking around, but I'm not getting a resize menu. Okay, so what happens if what I'm going to go ahead and do is take this resizer out of here into that folder. And I'm going to take the truck resizer and drop it. What does that look like? Or what is that? Okay, I'm really lost here, because usually vehicles don't have resize vehicles usually don't have resize scripts. Usually things like shoes and clothing items will have resize scripts. And it says, truck V12 resizer, an object owned by me, would like to animate your avatar. Is this okay? No, it's not okay, because a vehicle shouldn't be coming with a resizer. That's really weird. What happens when we click on this one? It's got like the hairstyle resizer where it says, do you want to click just this one part or all parts? Scale +10. Holy crap. I've never seen a vehicle with a resize. Holy, that thing is pretty freaking big. How small can we get it down? -10. -10. You can see it's just shrinking. Now eventually what's going to happen is some parts are going to reach their limit, and they're going to stay there while the other parts continue to reduce in size. It's almost down to the size of the first truck that we rezzed out. It's getting pretty small. It's still holding, none of the pieces seem to be too large. Now it's almost like pickup size. I've never seen a full perm vehicle come with a resize version. That's really weird. Oh, it's getting down pretty darn small, and it's getting very small, and no parts seem to be out of proportion. Bringing it down really small. It's going to be like a model. How small can we get this thing? This thing's getting tiny now. It's like a it's like a scale model of the truck, and it's still going down in size. Look at here. I'm just gonna drag it over real quick so you can see just how small the sucker got compared to the. Let me move that over there so you can see compared to what the regular full-size truck is. I don't know why they have this resized version. That's really weird. I guess if you have one of those giant avatar shapes, or I guess if you have one of those petite, there's petite avatars. Look how tiny that thing got. And what's funny is that how many prims is holy cow, it's 252 prims. That's how many building blocks the big truck is made out of. And what's funny is that we haven't changed any of the prim count of the small truck. So this little truck is still, it's made out of 252 prims as well, just like the big truck. That is crazy. I've never seen a vehicle come with a resizer script. That's weird. Usually it's hair, or it's shoes, or it's some article of clothing that you need to rescale. Generally not your vehicle. And it's still going down in size. Alright, we're going to go and just pick this. We're going to take this up. There we go. So let me see. I'm going to go. We don't need a resizer in our big rig. Let me see. Edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to click on this, I'm going to shift and click on this, and I'm going to delete that, and then I'm just going to drop in the scrubber script real quick just to clean up any resizer script residue that might be left behind. Where is the scrubber? I can't see, man. It's late at night. Oh, there we go. The scrubber. And that's just going to clean up any remnants of those crazy resize scripts. And I'm going to Just going to take a copy of that back into my inventory as a clean truck that I can start building with. So we're going to hit edit link edit link prims or edit linked parts, and I'm going to take a look at this real quick and see what is there any motor in here. Okay, well, there's no motor. There's a radiator, but no motor, so you can pick whatever motor of your choice to use. Hit Control Z to drop that back into place. And got the doors. So you can script the doors. That's pretty cool. You can script the doors and the hood. Looks like they used a luxury car inner door panel for the inside. You know, the interior doesn't look bad at all. The interior really looks pretty interesting. I've seen plenty of big rigs where the interior is just blank. It's just a couple boxes you can sit on and no. I mean, this one at least has a dashboard, it has a steering wheel, it has a shifter. What does that say on the steering wheel? I can't read that. Well. Yeah, one door inner panel and the other door inner panel, they didn't mirror, they didn't flip it around so it would match. So we're just gonna you go to select texture and you click on that texture and go to texture and you click the first arrow across from horizontal scale. There we go. Now that's facing the right way. That's facing the way it should be. Okay. It's got a nice big, what's that, audio box. It's got a big audio box, like a, not really a, well, I guess like a stereo. Well, no, that's more of like a VCR. Yeah, VHS, it says right there. I mean, and that door is clearly not for a DVD. That's too big. So it's got a VCR TV setup in it. Remember how, what the last video we looked at, putting media on a prim. This is a perfect use for it. You just res another prim, stick it in there, link it, put the media on it, and this thing will actually work. So this truck it's pretty high in part count. It has 252 prims. Remember the limit for linking anything in SL is 256. So 252, and you got what four extra prims that you can drop in as yours. That you can drop in to add. See, both doors should be pulled. It's pretty clever. It's kind of like how they did the old vehicles in SL, where they'd have just a box and then the picture of the window, or the picture of the door, or the picture of whatever panel. So that's pretty cool. At least with it being hard prim, when you pull back, it won't stuff won't break down. As you can see that the truck, it looks solid, and by comparison, this Sting Ray here is mesh, and you can kind of already see it happening now. But look, when we pull back, stuff's going to start breaking down. The wheels, the engine starts going to pieces and looks like it's all splintered and fragmented. And that's just because it's made out of mesh. Which, if you're not sure about what mesh is just a wireframe model, but it's pretty much how, like, if you ever see, if you've ever watched older shows about like 3D models or computer models, they typically have a wireframe mesh head or something they show, or a wireframe head, and that's what mesh is. Technically, I mean, the truck is made out of computer mesh too, but it's considered a primitive type build, a prim build, meaning it's being made with the most basic building blocks of virtual worlds. So with it being made with those basic building blocks, that's why it just pops in right away, and there's no load time, there's no waiting time. But yeah, it looks like it's got a high prim count, because like all this stuff here, like you see that right here, this little these little 90-degree elbow pieces. That's Taurus. It's those are separate parts. Then this bar here is a cylinder, and then these bars over here are separate, and then each headlight's separate, the blinker's separate, and then this whole bumper is just like all these little pieces that are making up the build. The wheels, this is the tires, a Taurus, which is like a barrel shape, and then the rim itself is a cylinder, it looks like. So it's pretty cool. It's a high prim count, and this probably took a decent amount of time to make. I mean, and the stuff looks decent. It doesn't look like it's just slapped together. I mean, it does. Getting all that little stuff just right into place does. It ends up taking some time to do. It looks like this rear differential and the other differential. See, they kind of look funny, kind of like bags or something, or like weights or something, but those are sculpts. I'm almost sure of it. So go to edit, editing parts, click on that, go to object. Yep, that's a sculpt. You see this rainbow pattern? That's a sculpt. So that takes a little bit of load time to bring in. Not nearly as much as like the mesh vehicles, but. So the truck looks pretty good. Opening doors, the hood, well detailed. Comes with pretty cool graphics, and it's pretty nicely detailed. They got some kind of control, I guess, for the trailer controls, probably for the trailer lights. It looks pretty good. It's got pretty good potential. It's got a very nice interior. Probably rip that out, put it into into some other truck builds. Oh, we didn't even check the sleeper. Aha, it's got like even a little sleeper back here. That's pretty cool. You can add a bed or whatever. Probably you have to extend that piece out a little bit, or add a little piece in there. And at 252 prims, when you script it, you're gonna have to do the over 32 prim glitch to it, which is gonna knock the prim count down, and it's gonna knock the land impact down to probably 150 or something like that. So it'll be able to drive around pretty decently. It's even got the horns on top. Now I'm not sure. He's got the smokestacks. He said were scripted, but I don't know how to turn those on unless they might just come on automatically once you start moving. But let's see. That's not in there. Is it in there? Oh, particle engine, smoke. It probably just happens right away once the vehicle starts moving. I'll double click this. Yeah, it's a smoky texture, and that's just a particle script. So the same kind used to throw bling on some of the old jewelry. Instead of bling, here it's throwing the smoke. Compared to the Sting Ray, this truck is kind of small. I mean, you can always stretch it out. You don't really need the resizer. You just click, hit stretch, and then grab the little white squares, like so. Stretch, grab one of these little white squares, and just pull it out. That's why you don't need a resizer for your vehicle. You just do it by hand. Just do it manually. And what's cool with hard prim vehicles like this is the prim count does not increase. The part count doesn't increase when you stretch it out like that. Now, for some weird reason, mesh does. So if we did that to the Sting Ray, ooh, we got a little phantom thing going on there, walking through the truck. But since the Sting Ray is made of mesh, if we were to pull it out, it would definitely increase in the part count. So let's see. It's got really basic coloring for the engine, but it does have an engine and a radiator. If those are separate pieces, we may be able to transplant our own. Oh yeah, it looks like they're made of. Yeah, it looks like they're all made of several different pieces, so you could probably like retexture these pretty easily. Even each exhaust header is its own piece. Usually it's like all one piece. Wow, all these are all separate mesh pieces. I think even the radiator is made in halves. Wow, I haven't seen that before. And it's got an opening hood and doors. I kind of wish that they had them shut, because sometimes they're hard to try and set back into place. And to set them back into place, you just click on them with edit link parts, and I'm going to rotate it, snap to grid north, and then just drop it down in place, straight down and a little forward. Let me get a little close because I see a gap. I might have to rotate this a little bit more. Oh yeah. Maybe. Just gotta pull it up. Up. Got a gap on one side, and might have to stretch it out some. Yeah, it's not going to look very good with that gap. Kind of 90 degree. Might not be 90 degrees. If they got it just off. Yeah, it is off. I think the whole car is off. So I'm just going to grab the whole car, snap to grid. Maybe that'll fix it. Usually when you buy a vehicle, the panels are closed, and then you can open them up when you got the you bust out your ACS scripts and you script the doors open and stuff. To open and close, it'll get easy. It's so much easier though when they're shut to begin with. That looks good for the door, or for the hood. Yeah. And I'll do the doors later. Are the doors all one piece? Yes, they are. Oh, it looks like you'll have to grab the mirror as well. The glass is one piece with the door, but the mirror is separate. Okay. So if you're scripting this, hopefully you're going to be using... Ooh, is that all? Okay, so this piece of the mirror and this piece of the mirror are actually separate pieces from the door, as you can see. Huh. It's just so weird because I'm used to when people make the mesh stuff, it's usually everything's one piece. Some people will do glass paneling as a separate piece because if you have the ACS scripts, you can do power windows. Oh, and here it's got the gauges. That's always very, very nice to have. A little off center, but that's very nice detail. Got some switches, or maybe they're push pins. No, they're switches. I haven't seen I'm not sure what this might be, like a clock or something. We might take that out and just replace that with a media on a prim, like a little screen or something. I'm not sure what that would be in the actual Sting Ray. I'd have to look that up. Interior's real basic seat. The seats are one prim each, so that should make it pretty easy to texture. I wish I had the texture maps though. That would make texturing a lot easier. Otherwise it'd be kind of guesswork. And this area back here is clear if you want to put a I don't know what you'd want to put back there aside from like a spare tire. That's the only thing I've seen. Had old Hot Wheels of a split window Corvette. I still have it somewhere. It's got a spare tire back there. So I may unlink one of these wheels and throw it back there. And may replace the wheels with something else. They're all separate. Yeah, it's all separate pieces, even the brake. That's pretty cool that there's all these like little separate pieces you can kind of remove and play around with. A blinker separate. That's pretty cool, so you can script the blinkers to actually come on if you wanted to. What's that piece right there? Oh, that's the gas cap. You got the blinkers on the outside and the brake lights. It's always cool to have separate lights, because if you have like the ACS scripts, you can script the blinkers to work, and you can script the brake lights to work without everything coming on at once. And exhaust is all separate pieces, so you can script the exhaust. That's pretty cool. It looks a little basic, but I mean, I think it'll work out fine. It's got a flat finish, but I mean, all you gotta do is hit select texture, select your texture, go to texture diffuse, and hit shininess specular, and hit low, and you'll get your shininess. I do it to the body. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna hold shift and grab a couple of these pieces. And the door, I'm going to hit them on low. How's that look? Oh, that looks nice. It's got some shininess to it. Looks a little bit more sleek. Yeah, these door handles separate pieces. I think these door handles are separate parts. Yes, they are. Okay, so if you're going to script the doors, or if you're going to close the doors so later you can script them, be sure if you have this, what was this called again? The GS. Well, if you have this Stig Ray, what was the name? I want to get the name right. The GS mesh Stig Ray box. It's like 50 lindens. Be sure when you grab the door to script it that you grab the door handle and both parts of the mirror. As a matter of fact, we're going to take the mirror. I'm going to hold down shift and just go around with some of these. Grab some of these parts, and we're going to do a little. Looks like the one piece of the rim is already kind of shiny, but here's a little trick. I'll show you how to make a plain white prim look marvelous. Just going to go around and grab these guys real quick. If the mirror will pop in, there we go. Grab the mirror. That piece off camera. I grab the door handle. Yep. And then the last part of the rim, or the last rim. And go back to texture. Go back to shininess. And you can select high. And you can go back to texture and close it out. And then that should add, gives a little more slickness. Looks better. Looks more like chrome instead of just being a flat white trim. All right. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the car and the truck. Got some basic details, but there's still a lot of potential. I know my hood and my side are they don't appear like they're the same red, but let me just show you real quick. Are they the same red? Yep, it's burgundy. It's all burgundy. Now the reason why the hood and the side here looks like a brighter color red than this is because I think the viewer's like acting stoops. Hit Control P and go to my graphics. I have local lights. That didn't really make a difference. It's still, sometimes if you have local lights on, it'll like mess with prims, but that's really weird because it is the same. When you go in to edit, it is the same color red, or it's the same color burgundy. So I don't know why the hood's showing up as being brighter, but maybe if you know, let me know, because I've noticed that for a while now, and even in the updated Firestorm viewer, it'll look like that, or white prims will look, or not white prims, but like orange prims and brown prims will look washed out in the top. I don't know what's going on with the viewer, but so let's see. I would recommend these. I would recommend them to these kits to people. They're, I mean, if you love tinkering around and building your own stuff, you can definitely have fun with this truck. You can like strip it down and make your own stuff out of it really easily. It's got a lot of good parts to it. It has a pretty decent looking interior. got some really nice textures, really interesting textures, and I mean, they're not bad. At least they're made of separate pieces, and they're not like those one-piece cars you get and you can't get rid of the, you got the front wheel steering in a certain direction and you can't take the thing apart because it's all like one piece. At least these are multiple parts where you can take them apart and you can play around with. How many prims was the Sting Ray? The Sting Ray... Oh, the Sting Ray is made of 134 parts, but it has a landing pack of 74. And if you know the over 32 perm glitch, you'll know how to cut that down and make the vehicle drivable even though it's over 32 prims. I don't know if I can't remember if I've done that video how to make a over 32 prim vehicle. I may have to make that I may have to make that video. But pretty good kits. Some separate faces on the Sting Ray that you can play with. Separate pieces like the blinkers. Oh, and before I go, I just want to say I didn't list the prices. It's 100 linen for the truck and 50 linen for the Sting Ray. So I wanted to throw that out there, and just in case anybody was wondering about the prices on them. So they're pretty cheap to buy. And they got a lot of parts and a lot of potential to mess with, and especially the truck. Like I said, that thing can be taken apart and rebuilt and all kinds of stuff. On your mark, get set, go!